What's happening, guys? I wanted to go over the trade from yesterday. I did do a video yesterday, but for some reason it got corrupted and I couldn't upload it. So what I wanted to go over is basically why I came to a thesis as quickly as I did that it could potentially squeeze. And there was two main reasons. One, obviously the tape, right? You're watching it, you're kind of getting a feel for when things exchange shares, you know, what point, what levels become key levels. And for me, that was 620. It appeared like on the way down that they absorbed quite a bit. It appeared like that was a point of interest. So at that point, you basically take notes. And, you know, if you need to write them down, you can write them down. But basically, I mentally take notes that, hey, that was a key level. And then I look for lower the better. And ideally, they set some sort of trap. So after there's a period of either consolidation or large amount of shares that are just kind of going back and forth, or what appears to be some type of first fight, that I take a note. And then, ideally, it goes lower, and it flushes out, it gets saved. Flushes out, gets saved. Flushes out, gets saved. And it should have died. It should have pulled back. It should have faded. It should have stayed heavy. But it doesn't. And so that's exactly why on, I guess it was Tuesday, yesterday, why I started to get long. And on the original entry, I was wrong. And the good part about that is I let myself be wrong. I just got out. I think it was about a 20-cent loss or something like that on a feeler trade, just because what I saw, I wanted to kind of test if what I saw was true. And it started to stay heavy, so I went ahead and moved on. Rather than have it take any headspace at all, I wanted to go ahead, refresh, rethink, and make sure that what I thought was going to happen, happened. So it ended up flushing out, came back up, consolidated, should have pulled back, didn't, started to go up again, should have pulled back a little bit more, didn't, and it continued to hold on. And at that point, I started to get long, add, and I wanted to see that confirmation over the 620 level, which is what we saw earlier. So BLPH was a nice big move right out of the open. And pulled back right over here, starts to ramp up again. And I actually thought that this was BPTH pre-market. So I wasn't actively focused on this action. But what you can see is, comes back, VWAP kiss, holds, goes back up, comes back, VWAP kiss, holds. And then it has a nice little morning shove, but it comes back and retests that prior level. So you look left. That gave you all the information that you needed, that this might be a good starting point. And as it started to kind of grind up, that's where I had started into the trade. The only way that I liked it for a potential breakout was over 620s. The reason for that was you go back to the prior top, and as it starts to break through, come back, confirm at 620s that it's going to hold a higher low. At that point, it started to really ramp up. So I posted the trade on Twitter yesterday if you guys are interested in kind of getting a feel for how I traded it, where I got in, where I stopped, where I moved on. But this trade, that was only one piece of it. And I related it to CAN, C-A-N, and the reasons why. However, there was another element. And you know, one of the ones that I compare it to is WATT. Now, if you go back to WATT, right here. So the thought process was that we're kind of fading off, and we're coming down on a couple 100,000 shares, about 600,000. Like, it's not a ton, but basically over the course of this pullback from 750 down to 440s was probably about a couple million shares. And what I take notes on is the fact that this gap up day, we already had traded a couple million shares and we were lower than the prior resistance point. So what that tells me is it's already flipped the float, it's already flipped a ton of volume, and as it retests for a potential breakout, it already has all these shares of shorts trapped more than likely, but it's also rotated the float. So if they wanted to sell, they could have sold. And so that's exactly what we had yesterday on this BLPH. And so again, on this WATT, the idea is that, you know, it kind of fades off on not much volume relative to how it was trading before. It gaps up, it churns the float below the prior resistance levels. And that's exactly, again, like I said, we had on BLPH. Right over here, we had a nice little ramp up, pull back, and it flushed out, put on the SSR the day before. And then this day right here, we basically churned the float, some pre-market, and then after hours we came back and retested. But we had already churned all of this volume before 10 a.m. And you have to look at the volume, you have to take notes of that. And if we start to consolidate and start to hold over this prior level, then there's possibilities of up to maybe this prior move here, which was up to 924. And then anything beyond that obviously is icing on the cake. But the idea is that you now have that big window that all these shorts are trapped from below support levels. Now we've reclaimed this prior basically resistance as support. And now we have a window all the way up. So basically from 6s to 9s, high 9s, we have that opportunity for potential move, squeeze before it even tests the next resistance point from past. So that's the idea, that's the concept, that's how it relates to WATT. So anytime something kind of floats down on very low volume and relative to how it was trading before, then all of a sudden opens up, churns and flips the float over and over and over again, that's when you have your opportunity. That's what I look for. And then you look for that window, the next window of opportunity, which, you know, looking left, there was quite a bit of room. So, again, I would encourage you to check out Twitter. I tweeted it yesterday. I'll post a link in the description below so you can check it out. But we've got some crazy moves going on right now. SPCE. For those of you guys that watch Sunday Scan, you were very, 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 very prepared for this. We did a very nice job in the room. You know, as far as I pretty much spelled out what I could and what I thought. The most important part was not getting too aggressive too soon. And that doesn't mean that I didn't dabble and test along the way. I was definitely trading the pops and the flushes and all that good stuff, but did not get aggressive until it started to break under key levels. And those that I identified was 3350, 3150, 3550 with VWAP at 34 or 3450, I believe it was. But each time things started to confirm is where I started to get a little bit more confidence. I was very happy with the covers, covered into the flush, which is abnormal for me. I've done a video about talking about Tesla, how, you know, I can have the best entries in the world, but I start to scale in and I'm killing it, and then snaps back up and rebounds the other way. So I was very, very happy at myself for my covers finally, that, you know, I wasn't trying to be a hero. I covered into this flush, low 29s as well as some in the 30s. And then it popped back up just about $3, $3.50 a share. And I felt really good about, you know, actually doing that compared to Tesla, where I have the best entry, snaps back, and I end up getting, you know, too patient on it. And of course, like I've talked about, then I end up getting stubborn and either minimize the trade or turn it into a loser or just a small gain. So that's the thought process. Try to put that into your trading. You know, double check some of these charts that churn the float over and over and over again and see what you can come up with. Hope you guys are enjoying the Sunday scans as well. Again, if you're just watching this video, go back to the last video posted, review the SPCE commentary, you know, how I would trade it, being patient, not pre-exhausting yourself. There were so many people that pre-exhausted themselves that they ended up covering into this push, they ended up covering into this push, and then they ended up missing the trade overall. The other note on this is it traded 100 million shares. So we have to take that into consideration. basically anybody that wanted to sell could have sold yesterday, and the only people that probably got in there that were aggressive sellers were shorts. So we can still hang around for a couple days, or even longer. Granted, I'd love to short it. I'd love for the opportunity, but my point here is don't get too biased in any one direction, especially when there's 100 million volume. All right, have a good trading day.